there's also been talks about getting Boyce removed from the library.
Yeah, I mean, Dwight McKissick wrote an open letter. I mean, this has been noised abroad in different ways, but Dwight did it on steroids yesterday or the day before, which will be about a week, I guess, from when this drops. But an open letter to Al Mohler, the president of Southern Seminary, and the trustees of Southern Seminary, saying remove the racist, white supremacist memorials of the racists and white supremacists who founded this seminary. And he specifically mentions James Boyce, John Broadus, William Williams, and Basil Manley, the four first professors, faculty of the seminary, and how this is such an offense and it's abuse to people like himself. And these people were guilty of such heinous crimes that there's no way we can ever be at peace with their names on buildings, and the names need to come down off the buildings. If you don't do that, then all you're doing is propping up white supremacy and perpetuating racism and yada, yada, yada. It just goes on. It's coming from a worldview that is not biblical. It's coming from a worldview that I really think is irrational. Because if the crimes, somebody ought to do this, look at the crimes, look at the sins that Dwight lists in his open letter. And man, I mean, they're horrific the way he describes them. So just list them and then look at the proposed solutions. They're superficial. If it's as bad as he says, let's burn the buildings down. Let's get rid of Southern Seminary and remove its name from the annals of history. Let's hang James Boyce in effigy. Let's do away with his theology. Let's do away with his confessional convictions that a seminary ought to be true to its historic confession. And let's take John Broadus's great book on preaching that has been used more than any other book on preaching in Protestant or evangelical Christianity, and let's burn it. Let's burn Boyce's abstract systematic theology, and let's not just get rid of the gavel. Man, let's remove John Broadus's name from Broadman Press, or B&H now, press. Let's go the whole 9 yards. Don't give me this little minimal proposal over here for these high crimes that can never be fully atoned for.
All right, let's press on a little bit, because they're going to come back and say, well, no, Tom, don't get too Texan on me.
I'm not going Texan. I'm trying to be rational. I'm trying to be reasonable.
James C. Boyce, what do you say? James C. Boyce, look, I'm not saying he wasn't a Christian. I'm just saying he's not a Christian.
A lot of people are saying he's not a Christian.
Well, let me hedge my bet, and let me say, I'm not saying he's not a Christian. I'm just saying that he shouldn't be on the library at the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, and his name shouldn't be part of the college, Boyce College. We need to put men up there that are worthy of being up there, and I'm just saying he's not. What do you say to that?
Well, I'd say, why is he not worthy?
Because he was a slaveholder.
Well, that's not all that Dwight said. He's a racist, white supremacist, denied the imago Dei in people.
Let's say he's all that. Let's say he's all that.
Okay. Well, if he's a heretic, he can't be a Christian. Why do we have a seminary based on a heretic? We need to say, man, we've been blinded. We've been wrong. Let's do away with this thing, not just in putting a coat of paint over the problem. Let's root it out.
Because he's that bad. So it's not just so does Dwight call him a heretic in the article?
I don't think he actually uses the word heretic, but the crimes that he accuses him of, all of them are really bad, and he says, he tries to hedge it. We appreciate their role, their development in Southern, but it is inappropriate to celebrate them, inappropriate to continue their legacy because, let me just read this, because of patriarchy, prejudice, the promotion of putrid exegesis practiced and preached by the founders of Southern Baptist Theological Seminary. Their names need to be removed from the seminary as memorabilia, including Boyce College, Broadus Chapel, other places when the founders are displayed. If this seminary is based upon putrid exegesis, patriarchy that he thinks is bad, however he's defining it, prejudice, what? Let's say, oops, sorry.
Shouldn't trust him on that abstract if there was putrid exegesis.
No way.
I'm fascinated by we've talked a little bit about the tearing down of the statues, and this, it seems to be what's going on with the social justice movement, what's probably tied up here with McKissick's effort as well, is there's no category for honoring people who are sinners.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with that
is that we're not going to honor anybody.
Yeah, it's like you totally flatten out the world, which fits really the whole critical theory is to try to get to this future state of total
utopianism,
equality, like in every sense of the word. Well, then there's definitely no statues, because if you have a statue and I don't have a statue, I call that not equality. so it's fascinating. You find, I think in one sense, take slavery out of the issue. There's something deeper going on here. You would try to tear down statues, regardless of what sin was involved. You would go ahead and try to find one, and then you're going to try to tear down those statues, because in this system, in this religion, this faith commitment, there can be no honoring of certain persons and without the honoring of the other persons. We want to get this level everything out, but that's not the way Christianity works. Christianity has a place for saying, look, we're all fallen people, but there are commendable kinds of things, and we want to commend certain things, and we want to shame certain kinds of actions. In this other religious commitment, there is no commending of certain qualities or shaming these other qualities. It's like to each their own, but the thing we can't do is have certain people exalted over other people.
Yeah. And again, you're just going to have to rewrite your Bible or rip out certain pages, because we're told to give honor to whom honor is due. Oh, so is there some sinless person that's being spoken of there that we are to show honor to? Of course not. I mean, Dwight refers to Hebrews 11, but read through Hebrews 11 and find one sinless person there. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at Solomon, look at David, who are held up to us as teachers that we're to learn from. David, a type of Jesus Christ, and their sins are evident, and God doesn't paper over them. God puts them out there to be seen. That's the glory of the gospel. The gospel provides real salvation for real sinners. And all of us have blind spots. All of us have sin that remains in us. And these virtue signaling proponents of this new religion today that go around thinking we're greater than those who've gone before us because look at their sins, blinded to our own. I mean, it's contrary to the way of Christ. And that's my fear, is that's what the world is advocating now. And now we got people in the church going right along with it. And we cannot pretend that we're walking together whenever we're operating on two different bases of authority under the lordship of different gods.